got a couple quick questions here for you. Recently, he was just in town actually. Ray from the Kinks was saying he thinks that right now the state of British pop is as good as it's ever been, as healthy and in particular he named your band and everything. Would you agree with that statement? That probably you're.
Yeah, I'd agree with, to a certain extent, that the music's. Well, it's definitely.
You know what? Can you start that over again?
Yeah.
I agree with a certain extent. Go ahead.
I agree with it a little because, I think that people maybe are giving it more of a chance, especially here. I don't know, there just seems to be a healthy crop of groups at the moment in England. I mean, I don't necessarily like them all, but it does seem to be quite healthy, yeah.
When you say you don't necessarily like them all, one thing that's always been, I guess, characterized the British scene is a sense of, competitiveness with other groups. I mean, do you particularly feel that, or are you keenly aware of that, or is it?
No, not. I mean, with groups, we can't really compete with them because we're not really the same, There's the Blur and Oasis thing, but we're a completely different group to them, and we're completely different to Pulp and Supergrass. That's probably why it is quite a rich, because they're not all sounding the same. It's not really like one movement or anything.
To a large extent, Rick was just saying you're their priority for this year, breaking you guys like in America. To the extent you're still being discovered by America, is it tough going or?
Well, yeah, it is a little bit, but if they want to, push us in people's faces, then it's, I don't know, it might be a bit of a shame. People might get sick of us, but no, I like the kind of following we get at the moment. Our audiences seem concentrated, they're not watered down. There's a lot of younger people coming, but that's okay. I'd still like us to mean something and not be some horrible big pop group.
What places so far have been really good for you guys in America, touring-wise?
California's always good. We always have good shows in San Francisco. I don't know why that is. We always go there, so that might have something to do with it. And even gigs as small as we played in St. Louis was pretty good as well. And over in New York we always look forward to, I think this is probably the largest we've done, isn't it?
Largest venue?
Yeah.
That I don't know.
No.
You've got the view from the stage.
The Academy usually do. I think, this seems bigger anyway.
They'll pack them in. It'll be wall-to-wall people tonight. You probably been asked this a million times, but not for our show. How do you describe the Blur sound? What's the characteristic?
I suppose the sound comes from not limiting ourselves to any particular attitude about music, because we're all very different people and we all like different kinds of music. We're all not listening to the same thing all the time. So that brings to Blur's music quite a wide variety of sounds or styles. So I suppose that eclecticism becomes what Blur's sound is.
One thing that I think has characterized your sound is that it's very elaborately textured in a way that pop music isn't anymore. You look back at old Beatle albums, or be it horn section or string section or whatever. You seem to be one of the few bands actually that's almost reintroducing this to audiences. Certainly since the whole Seattle thing has swept America, that's all been swept aside. It's like new ground to discover for people.
Oh yeah, I mean, I suppose music we listen to is not that simple. I mean, some of our songs, like Globe Alone, are just full-on rock, I suppose, or maybe like punk rock. But that's like a release for us, Sometimes it gets complicated live when we're having to deal with strings. horn sections, so it's good to just thrash
That's all.
occasionally.
The horn section's all loaded into samples. The horn section's all loaded into samples. I think I just heard. Did the sound check?
Oh no, that's Mike and Richard, and they're live, a sax and a trumpet.
Oh, I didn't even see him back there.
No, we hide them.
You hide?
Not really well. I mean, they sort of stand behind me. But we've got a lot of strings that are we've got a few samples going on.
Okay. One thing I remember reading an interview with the group. You were talking, it almost adamantly expressed that this was a pop band and not a rock band to some extent. Maybe that was someone else's point of view. But do you subscribe to that?
Yeah, I think Blur is a pop group. It can't be described as rock really. With some of our songs don't fit into a rock category. Like there's some more cinematic, more emotional, slow kind of songs. I don't think fit into rock. And I think if we look upon ourselves as a pop group, then that's what we're doing really. We are making pop music really. In the end, it's just that people in America don't use that word very often.
Or they use it in a pejorative sense.
A pejorative sense.
Like sort of negative. Oh, it's pop music, as opposed to
yeah.
That it's all ultimately pop music.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of really good bands that. I sometimes get the feeling that American kids just like guitars being strummed and rock rhythms, but there's people like the Beastie Boys who are doing something completely different. They're using guitars, but they're also using funky rhythms and hip hop and rap and everything.
How do you see yourself as on the current scene? How do you feel yourself like fitting into, at least insofar as over here?
Well, I don't know what scene would fit into. I don't think we fit into any. I think a lot of kids that come see us still believe us to be their secret, and they still like the small, sweaty shows. Because that is more exciting, really. I mean, the challenge for us now is to make these bigger halls into small clubs. Give that feeling to them when we're playing. And we can do that. So that's. I don't know whether there's any American groups we can fit into. I think it's a good thing playing with the Rentals, because I think maybe because they use keyboards and everything, there is some sympathy going on between us two.
Who would you say has influenced this group? I have my own ideas.
I don't know. Could be anything from the Beatles to Bowie to Kings to Star Wars to Ennio Morricone, to John Barry to The Who. Lots of people.
I think there's a strain of sort of an indigenously British music that kind of starts with those middle period Kinks albums. Sort of predates maybe even The Who a little bit, or at least they were sort of developing that at the same time. It's like it almost becomes anthropological. This is music about England. And sometimes that works, at least crossing over here. But a lot of those groups, like the Jam, I love the Jam, but they never really translated well over here.
No.
And it took the Kinks a long time to break. Have you thought about that as something that may work against you in a way?
No. I mean, so long as we like playing, I don't think it matters. I mean, I don't know what groups are meant to be for. I don't know whether they're meant to be around for 10 years. The Jam were around for about 6 years, really. And perhaps that was long enough,
Well, you guys have been around now.
For about 6 or 7 years, yeah.
6 or 7 years now.
But we still want to try.
I would imagine this group pretty much knew what you wanted to do when you started. Is that true? I mean, your early records are, I'm not saying they're not that different from the new records, but there's a clarity of vision there that's often lacking in a lot of bands.
Maybe. I think maybe Damon would say that his lyrics were a little banal. But I think that was just what was happening in a lot of British music at the time. It was a lot to do with, the indie dance thing, which we used as some stepping stones really to get some fans, I suppose, and probably to get signed. So we were very innocent then, very naive.
What do you listen to?
What do I listen to?
When you're traveling around the America here.
I listen to Beastie Boys a lot. I listen to. I've been listening to a band called Mission of Burma quite a lot. They're an odd group. They kind of remind me of Joy Division-y, Wire. Yeah, I've been listening to a bit of Wire and The Only Ones, and so it's quite American-y, really.
Your tastes in general?
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of the Britpop thing going on in Britain that it's pretty boring to me, really.
Oh, but you guys are like, you're kind of in the eye of the cyclone in this thing.
well, we've always seemed to have done something. I mean, our first, maybe Britpop record was in '92 when we released Pop Scene, and at that time it was completely overlooked because of Teen Spirit and everything.
Okay,
so we're not bitter. We want to keep moving. We don't want to sit around in Britpop filth for the rest of our lives.
I was watching you guys on MTV yesterday. There's a bit of an interview with you on. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. And some good. I'm really psyched for tonight's show. It's a bit of live performance. Right. Really exciting. But anyway, they touched into the inevitable, which is what the hell is this Oasis thing over here in America, where we're kind of watching this from afar? Is this real? Is this what's going on?
This was quite a while ago, really. This started. We've always got on really well as people when we've met up, and I don't think there's any real problems between us, because we do know that whatever happens, we are different groups. But it was just this thing about number one, and there was arguments concerning certain methods, sales techniques, stuff like this. Just got a little bit bitter, and there were some silly comments made about us and maybe concerning them in the press, so the atmosphere was pretty bad. But I think we're over it anyway.
A genuine hostility, at least for a while.
Well, I don't know whether it was. I think it was just press. It was just you guys.
Us guys.
Yeah, because whenever I see Liam, he always says he likes me. So I don't know. And Noel's never said anything bad about me. So.
Well, the weird thing is here in the States, obviously they've got a hop, skip, and a jump ahead of you guys commercially, which is in a weird way is evidently going to open doors for this group. I mean the quote unquote story surrounding this rivalry is going to reach a very large American audience very shortly. Be aware of this, and suddenly next thing you know, as I say, the record companies like these guys are going to happen here big.
Right.
Do you feel that? Do you feel like you're on the cusp of something here, at least vis-a-vis the States?
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, these have been the best shows we've played for ages. Certainly the best in the States.
How long have you been out?
We've been out for almost about 2.5 weeks.
I heard I remember when the album first came out, hearing you guys, I think, playing it at NEW, like live in the studio thing.
Right.
It was your last tour. That would have been about summer, right?
Yeah, we came over, sort of in the fall last year.
Yeah, right.
Did some things.
Why are there chords on the lyric sheet? I think that's great. I mean, I love the idea of that.
Chords? Oh, there's chords on there because that's like, okay. That's because how I learned to play the guitar was from songbooks, like the Jam songbooks and the Who songbooks. That's how I was never taught by any person. I taught myself using these books, and just like the idea of giving the music to these young people who wanted to learn about it, So if they wanted to learn how to play the songs, they could. There wouldn't be any huge history about it, Mystery.
As a guitar player myself, I like it. I mean, you can just kind of sit down and sort of like, oh yeah, this is how you play it. Or like, remember the church hymnals would often have the chords above it, and kind of figuring out, okay.
It's not giving it all away. It's just the basic chords. You know, you still have to use some imagination.
What do you play? You know, what's your instrumental? What do you have?
What do I have?
Guitar to what amp to?
Oh, guitar to some boxes. And I use Marshall.
What kind of guitar are you playing?
I'm playing probably the Telecaster quite a lot.
You get
and a Les Paul and Jaguar, and it's quite a few actually. 335.
Yeah. Are we wrapped up here? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Carry on.
Okay.
No, what was that? You were straight.
I was going to say you get a very dry sound that I find interesting. It's very unique. In other words, it's not really this kind of like heavy kind of crunching. It wouldn't fit in the context of the group, you know.
Yeah.
It's a very like you're like as when you hit a chord, it's kind of like poof, it's gone. You know, It's not this sort of resonant reverb thing happening. That I find like it's like very crisply executed.
Yeah.
Probably not a lot of boxes and all that stuff.
I am a rhythm player. You know, I'm a drummerist as well, so rhythm is my thing.
Okay.
And you know, I've been into a lot of psychedelic music, but at some points in my life. But I do prefer choppy stuff that goes against rhythms. And I don't particularly like strumming.
It's more of a almost Booker T-ish approach.
Yeah.
You know, to playing. Like,
there's people like
Wilco
Johnson. It's quite R&B-ish in attitude, I guess.
Here's a question. I just heard in an interview the other day, Ray from the Kinks was being interviewed. He was saying, as far as he's concerned, this is really just the banner time for British pop. You know, like excluding, even forgetting. He just thinks like, you know, groups like yourself and other people that are on the scene are just like wonderful and continuing in a kind of tradition that he helped pioneer. Do you and seem very, you know, appreciative of
what a lovely old fellow he is. Then, I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, a lot of people, certainly Damon, cite him as a major influence. Well, he's a master craftsman, wasn't he? And you know, you can't overestimate the importance of craft when you're making pop music.
No, you can't underestimate that. What places are you finding right now are really the best for Blur to play in the U.S.? Where are you really enjoying? Where are the audiences good? What's a stronghold for you guys right now?
We haven't really toured extensively here, but we've always come over every year and played like the 12 biggest cities. We tend to do very well on the coasts, and then sort of less and less well the further you go in towards the middle, and then in the middle we sell no records at all.
Do you think almost in some way, shape, or form the group is too British for those middle American tastes, or? You know?
Yeah, I think maybe we don't rock enough. You know, you're measured on a scale of how much you rock. Here, really. Well, America's had a lively musical output. For the, you know, grunge was a massive thing. Well, you know, I'm sure you'd agree. But it's time for something new. You know, Hootie and the Blowfish can bog off, really, can't they? It's boring. It's dull. It's not sexy. It's not telling us anything new. It's just oral Prozac.
I find it amazing. I just heard on the radio the other day.
12 million records.
They're approaching now the top. They're the next album poised to go into the top circle of the top 5 albums of all time.
Really? Well, it's done nothing in Europe.
They've done nothing in Europe.
No.
Yeah, it's all American. You know, totally American stuff. And he didn't even give Bob Dylan credit. You know, that pisses me off. You know what I'm talking about? That one song lifts. One of their songs pinches an entire verse from Bob Dylan without even acknowledging any
God, we've all
shit.
done that though, haven't we?
I suppose so. I suppose so. Do you think the gulf between British music right now and American music is widening, or?
Well, I think because of what was happening in America with grunge and everything, the British press became quite myopic and focused on all this American stuff, and I think it was what we were deliberately making British sounding music as a response to that, because Britain's got a very strong cultural identity, and we just felt it was being lost in a sea of grunge, of dysfunction.
I can remember going back, I've been doing this for 15 years almost, interviewing like American bands like X and the Blasters saying, we can't get heard. It's just all America wants to hear right now are English bands. This is going back to a generation.
Well, yeah. I mean, every 5 years, America gets bored of itself and British bands become big for a while. And then they get bored with that and something else happens, It's just like the tide going in and out. It's inevitable.
Well, it seems very. I was telling Ian right now. I said this seems actually very good for your group. This sort of like America getting a little bored with itself at the moment, willing to stretch out. I mean, sometimes there are these periods of xenophobia in American taste, where they sort of like hate foreign bands and then they sort of like embrace new groups. How's that situation for American bands in England right now?
Great. None of the ones that do really, really well over here do particularly well at home.
I hear Bush is not particularly.
Bush can't get arrested. They can't even get girlfriends at home.
That sounds like an inside joke that I maybe not as with the leader.
Well, it's that they came and saw us in Dusseldorf or somewhere like that, and they said they were nice boys, but it's just I find it a bit nasty what they've done. It's just a very cynically conceived record that was just created artificially for the American market by Clive Langer and Alan Winstanley, the producers. It's just Xerox grunge, you like.
Who produced that album?
Langer and Winstanley, the people.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, oh yes.
I didn't even realize
They're not stupid, They want, they want another swimming pool or something, so they've just bashed out a generic tritey grunge record.
A decade ago, they would have been trying to, if that blurb in there, they would have tried to produce you, right?
We did. They produced one of our singles actually.
Well, there you go. But they had a. I was just talking.
But what's the point in selling American culture to Americans? What does it achieve ultimately?
The Stones did it quite well. To the point now you have bands that sound indigenously American, maybe like the Black Crowes, and people say, oh, they sound like the Stones. And they're from the place the Stones sang about. It gets kind of complicated.
Planet Rock.
Let me ask you a question. How are your CD jackets designed? Here's an interesting theory that I have. CDs have always destroyed the art form of the
album. Completely.
And you guys have found a way to get around that in a very interesting way. You actually give the person something.
Well, we always pay a lot of attention to detail, with everything we do, and we spend a long time carefully considering how we're going to present our art, and so it generally takes ages. But yeah, we do put a lot of thought and effort and love and care into it. But it's true. I mean, the CDs don't look as sexy as albums. There's no question.
Well, you could go back to sort of, certainly the days of groups like, like singles from the Buzzcocks back then. Like a big album single. Would always invariably have an interesting look about them. That sort of post-punk generation was very visual oriented. With the rise of this, that's almost completely vanished in a way. You know, is it kind of like an artwork to hold in your hand?
Yeah, it's got a lot to do with having a good design company as well. Styler Rouge. I mean, it's a guy called Chris Thompson who we talk to about what we want.
Have you worked with them all along?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we generally tend to do that if we find something that works, a relationship. You know, like we always used to. Stephen Street as a producer, really, since we found him. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Would you intend to work with him for like the next?
Definitely.
Definitely.
I think we're going to make the next record in Iceland.
In Iceland?
Yeah.
Why?
If we can find a studio.
Oh.
Why? Because I like the idea of there being no trees there. I think it'll just be interesting to go somewhere like that and make warm music.
I find it interesting in Iceland. It's almost it's almost 100%. You have almost 100% literacy rate, and yet almost the same number of people believe in elves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What good is reading doing them if they still believe in elves?
That's beautiful, though.
Yeah, really. Anyway, who do you like on the current scene?
We love the Rentals, and we like Black Grape. Do you know them? Sean Ryder's new band.
Yeah.
You know, there's always good music being made. I've been listening to a lot of New York music actually, like the Velvet Underground,
old
Blondie and Patti Smith. Yeah. I mean, it's all gone a bit punk.
Tom Verlaine grew up in my neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah. That's kind of
Good
my claim to fame. He's a great guitar player. You know, they had a
capricious.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, very peculiar stuff. Who would you count as your primary influences?
I don't know. You know, if I hear anything good, I nick it. Yeah, I find it very hard to talk about influences because I'm really not sure what affects me. You know, you can't really escape from music. It's the most omniscient art form there is. You know, you can't go and buy a loaf of bread without hearing Wonderwall at the moment. You know. So you know, it all goes in there, even when you're not thinking about it.
Is that hearing Wonderwall here or hearing Wonderwall?
Yeah.
In here. Yeah.
Good song.
So
chaps.
Do you hate these guys or not?
No.
So this is all, you must be sick of hearing about this stuff. This is all new to us over here, you know.
Well, it enabled us, both of us to sell millions of records.
Yeah. And
nothing like an angle for selling a few records.
It's not a bad angle, you know.
It's pretty boring, really.
No? Why? Because people invariably ask you about it. And
yeah. You know, it's completely different bands, really. It's just that we sell so much more than anyone else at home.
So
and the two singers are both cheeky, argumentative types.
So your record sales are topping theirs back home.
Yeah. Well, most in Europe, yeah. We've got them in Europe.
Okay.
But you know, it's not ultimately about how many records you sell. You know, once you've sold a few million records, you stop really worrying about that.
So this whole thing was more of a function of like both being sort of like new bands coming along, rather than being established. Because they came along a little bit after you, but so you're saying that they were like kind of like the cheeky upstarts starting a fight with. Yeah. It's just very tedious, though. I'm bored of talking about it. Okay.